are listening to Offensive Lines with Marlon and Boyd. Small stakes NFL gambling for the average fan.
Welcome to Offensive Lines, the Week 1 recap show. I'm Marlon.
I'm Boyd.
And, well, once again, we just I watched anyway, the late Monday night game. And it was another horrific smashdown for my Chargers.
Yeah, I think we might have to change that name of your of that song you like to reference.
Oh, Cleveland?
San Diego, City of Lights, City of Magic.
But it is still San Diego, which gives it a big up on Cleveland in a lot of ways.
Yeah, many Super Bowl titles though.
But when you called tonight, you were saying, "Oh, you sound pretty calm." And here's the thing. I've just gotten used to it. These late Monday night games are always anguish. It's to the point where it kind of ruins my opening weekend. You know, I watch all the games. I've got to wait, and then be destroyed. Like, the first loss was a sucking chest wound. The second, big lead loss was a stab in the stomach. Now I just feel like I've been punched in the face. So, in relative terms, it's getting better.
There you go. So, okay, fill me in on what happened, because I fell asleep at 17-6 San Diego in the fourth thinking you guys are good.
We had the 11 points. We were generally playing well. The first most important thing, really, that ended with the loss was what we said. Arizona's home field advantage is one of the best in the NFL. There was a bobbled snap by Rivers that I attribute primarily to crowd noise. He was thinking too much, which you know my opinion on Rivers thinking too much, and was trying to adjust things, blew a timeout, a delay of game. The crowd really played a big part in it. Beyond that, Chargers had about 6 dropped balls, dropped 2 interceptions, let Palmer escape from sacks no less than 3 times.
I saw 2 in the same drive.
Yeah. And that's what happened. I mean, overall, I'm somewhat encouraged, I would have to say. We went to a really hard place against a good team. We acquitted ourselves reasonably well. I love the whole system of you get with a base package and Rivers changes it at the line. But when it gets down to the pressure, he can't be taking 25 seconds to do that anymore when he can't communicate. The flanker would be running over to him to discuss the play call. When the noise is so loud.
See, but that's on preparation,
stick with
though.
The base. Oh, yeah. There were preparation and execution issues all night.
But if you see nobody can't stay with the base if he knows that it's not going to work.
I think he overthinks it. Trust your coach.
Well, not against Arizona, though.
Yeah. Well,
like we saw in the first game, Stafford they were calling 2 plays in the huddle. And the first play, when he'd yell kill, they talked about it at the end of the game. When he's yelling kill, or at halftime, whatever it was, kill, kill, kill. He's going to the second play. That's all you need. Call the first play. If you get to the line, it's not working, go to it just takes over.
Yeah.
Okay, first play's this. If I kill it, it's
Don't
this.
give him as many adjustments as they've given him. He's a smart guy. He's a good quarterback, and that works most in the game. But sometimes a hostile stadium makes you change your whole sort of protocol of getting the play in.
In a passing league, they have 1 wide receiver and a tight end who's on his last ankle.
And Gates dropped about 3.
Yeah, I know. And it's in a passing league when you need to score points. You're not winning many games nowadays with 17.
We were at roughly our own 40 on second and short with just under 2 minutes left. That should be a win with a good kicker.
Well, but you need.
But he just fell apart and he panicked, and yeah, it didn't look good. And I worry about my receiving core. I mean, that's the biggest negative I took out of this game. Um,
Before it used to be Ryan Matthews, you worried about your running game. Now they've got too many guys to try and get the ball to. Like,
but
what
they're
did he
sticking
say?
with Matthews. Like
No, I
you
know,
didn't
but
watch much of that game. I thought it would
well, I
be
saw the
much more
first half and
committee
a bit
work.
of the third. Well, they did. No, in the first half, it was like Matthews too. It reminded me of Tennessee last year. Oh, Matthews gets 4 carries on this drive, and then here's fucking Donald Brown. Okay. Oh, Woodhead's back in. Oh, okay.
I don't know that Donald
Like,
Brown got a touch,
yeah,
but it wasn't the most distressing opener I faced. Put it that
no,
way.
but you get.
I would have loved to have stolen the victory.
Now, I'll say this about the Chargers. They played probably, I'm going to say, a top 5 team in the NFC.
Yes, this is exactly why I'm optimistic, Boyd.
And
you nailed it right there. On the road in what we think is the second best home field advantage in the NFL.
And from what I saw yesterday, out of AFC teams, how many are better than Arizona? Or potentially Arizona? I'm not sold on Arizona's offense yet either.
No, but they do have Floyd. Ellington, in spite of my greatest hopes for fantasy, did play. He's going to be good. If that foot injury isn't just one of those lingering things like Gates' foot injuries over the years. But he looked good. He's dynamic. He for a shifty guy, he almost never stops and tries to dance around, which drives you, I believe, as nuts as it drives me. When the hole's there, he takes it. He's got soft hands. He's a good player. If he stays healthy, weirdly enough, I think Zona's offense is pretty good. And that's another sign of encouragement for me. The Chargers' defense, much maligned.
Well, that was maligned by you. I don't think it was much maligned by most people like you were before this season. I'm not sold on the rebuild defense. Their defense looks fucking great. They've got
Atanachu, the rookie.
They've got a pass
had
rush
a
with 4 guys.
Insane fucking but we can't finish the sack.
No, but that'll come. But when you can generate a pass rush with 4 guys,
yeah,
this is Atanachu,
and I may have his name wrong. All over the field and playing with passion. Blocked a punt, knocked balls down, came in for a sack, was given every role that a linebacker really can have in a defense.
Yeah.
Looked great. So, yeah, it was a 1-point loss. I expected 0-2 this year. I would have loved to have stolen that one. But it fell apart. The Chargers... we play Seattle.
Oh,
at home. Yeah.
In San Diego.
Yeah.
You got a shot. They're a different team on the road.
I didn't like my receivers though. Lots of drop balls.
That's not how you're going to beat. You're not going to beat Seattle throwing it.
Well, you were saying the game plan reminded you of Tennessee, but the Chargers do have to eat the clock. We're very old school in that sense. That's how we won late last year.
Yeah, you controlled the clock by running.
Yeah.
And then play action.
Which, I know is not fashionable in the league right now, but it's the best way San Diego has to win. Overall, for a loss, I haven't been this pleased in a while. There were almost no absolute disasters. Sharice Wright, who gets ripped on a lot, had a good game. I mean, we were playing Floyd and this guy you might have heard of called Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald didn't catch his first pass until the fourth quarter. My cornerbacks have taken a big leap forward. That could be because the pass rush is, if not getting there, at least harassing them a second and a half faster than they did last year when it might as well have been flag football, with 10 Mississippis for the quarterback to look down the field.
Yeah, and I the only thing I'll say about their defense and their corners, with a little more decisive quarterback in Arizona, it might be a different story. Palmer seems to be like the looky. Oh, It's not coming out. I'm trying to think of the game
And there
I was
were
watching
accuracy
yesterday.
issues too. There were accuracy issues from Palmer too. He had a lot of open receivers that he just didn't hit. Now I don't know if that was sloppy route running, but
If they had a better
given his
quarterback,
cast, I don't necessarily think so.
if they had a better quarterback, they'd challenge Seattle and San Francisco for the division. And right now they won't. And just on that note, I'll say, you said it was a show me year for Kaepernick. He looked pretty good yesterday
Against Dallas's defense.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying back that
No, but
you know
you still got to do it against
the
who you're
Niners were
playing.
gifted. Oh, I know. The Niners were gifted with 2 touchdowns by the defense and by Romo's abysmal first half. And they lose that game to the Cowboys without those defensive.
Well, I don't. Well, no. Well, okay. Now that might be going a little far because you play to the game situation. You don't have to take chances or throw the ball out with the running game they have and a lead like they had.
Yeah, but
if Denver had any balls, you wouldn't be playing to Peyton Manning's ego. And Monty Ball or Hillman would have had the ball that whole second half.
I don't disagree with that.
Any
the
other
only thing I want to
football
say with
team-
Kaepernick, and by the way, I'm not against him. I'm just saying is show me against a team that has a better defense than Green Bay or the Cowboys.
Well, he did it against Seattle in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, no, I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying show me.
Well, his last 2 games that he's played have been pretty good. That was the biggest scare Seattle got last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They actually should have lost that game. And I think if fucking Bowman doesn't get hurt on the goal line play, they win that game. But because that was an atrocious call when they didn't give Seattle the ball.
It could be entirely possible. But okay, so we've discussed the Chargers, spent a little more time on that than we had to. I'm encouraged in a lot of ways. Would have been nice to steal a tougher road game. You're right. I put Arizona's defense, somewhere right in the middle of the pack. They're not terrible. It'll be interesting to see if San Diego's defense can hold against a good offense. I think I misspoke there. I mean, Arizona's,
offense, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, punch in the face, but that's a pretty good opening weekend for the Chargers.
Yeah. Now, I will say about the Titans, last 2 years, and I said it last year too, Locker stays healthy, we're a playoff team. There's no doubt in my mind. We have explosive wideouts. We have a running back that we picked up from Kansas City, McCluster, who looks like Chris Johnson when he's running, except he doesn't jitterbug behind the line. You want to laugh at Sean Green, fine. He just goes ahead. He was going ahead for 4 yards a carry yesterday.
I'll take
just
that
hitting the hole 4 or 5 yards, setting up second and medium instead of second and 9 or second and 11 because he danced and then fell backwards into the line. And I know Chris Johnson had a decent game with the Jets yesterday, but for what I've seen out of, like, if you watched him every game, like I had for his whole career, there's something was missing. So I'm not disappointed he's gone. The biggest addition to the Titans team was Ray Horton as defensive coordinator. Our defense looked totally different with the same group as last year, minus a Pro Bowl corner we lost to Tampa Bay as a free agent.
But how much do you buy into KC?
Marlon, I don't care in the NFL. When you dominate a team defensively, like, I don't care. Like, it still means something. From what we had last year, when we played Kansas City last year, they marched the ball up and down the field. Like, we had all the same penalties we had against them last year that cost us the game. Didn't cost us the game because we made a play on defense to stop them. Made the interceptions when we were there, didn't drop them. got the sacks. Look, Jamal Charles had about 50 yards total offense when last year he averaged 132. And there's not much difference on their offense this year. They actually have more weapons. Outside of Bo being in the lineup, they had Kelsey was healthy. He played. Their offensive line was intact. They had Jamal Charles. They just paid Alex Smith $1 gazillion. Our defense played pretty well.
No, I'm not taking that away. I think Kansas City is vastly overrated.
No, but
was the only point I was trying to make.
No, but I don't think Kansas City's a playoff team by the least. But when against any NFL team to hold them to 10 points, and the touchdown was a garbage touchdown. We got a 3rd and goal taunting penalty when a guy jumps up and whooped at him for about a second and a half. They had a roughing the passer when he hit him with one hand on his ass cheek as he was going out of bounds. Kansas City had 5 yards in penalties yesterday, when all I heard all preseason was, oh, this is going to be the year of the flag. And Kansas City's perfect, but whatever. That's a Tennessee fucking curse. Can't even remember. Since they had Fisher and got a reputation of some kind being dirty, we don't get a call. Ever. Any benefit of the doubt call goes against us.
Well, you don't have an influential owner anymore either.
Hunter got grabbed by the jersey from the 5, and the ball just went over his fingertips. They threw the flag and then picked it up. They threw it and picked it up. And they show the replay, and the guy has got his jersey twisted at his neck, like wrapped around, twisted.
And it wasn't a tip ball, and it wasn't out of the pocket for the quarterback.
And it was just brutal. So, yeah. But, okay, say it again. Jake Locker's healthy. We're a playoff team. We have all the pieces in place. Explosive wideouts, a good running game. I don't need, in this day and age in the NFL, I don't need a guy to go 80 yards on a touchdown run. We killed the clock. The last drive for the field goal to go up 26-10, we took 6 minutes off the clock. That's what I need in the fourth quarter. I don't need a home run when we're up 23-10. That was the game.
Absolutely. I mean, that was what we were just discussing, was I don't need gaudy numbers out of a running game, but I need that to manipulate the clock to my advantage.
No, I need it out of my quarterback and my wideouts in this league now. It's geared for that. Locker was 22 of 33 for 260 some yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
So 66.7% and no picks. There you go.
And accurate.
And did you ever feel nervous about that game, really? That was a really dominant. Well, yeah.
First quarter, when there was not really much happening. It was 3-0 Kansas City after the first. But once Locker got in rhythm, he's good, man. When he's healthy, he's good. And I'll keep saying when he's healthy. I know.
Well, no. Just take that out, because we used to say that about Stafford, too.
No, but Stafford's played healthy for 3 years.
Oh, I know. But on a certain level, when he got that reputation of being fragile, they were fluky injuries. That hip thing and the foot things are definitely a little bit fluky. So you've just got to close your eyes and move forward and pray. I mean, that was one of the first things when we talked on Sunday. I asked, how does Locker look? And, you're not the most positive guy on the planet, so
I'm so encouraged.
You gave him a high grade.
Marlon, it's the defense, though. The plays where guys used to be wide open when we'd play whatever zone we were playing under Munchak and whoever was the D coordinator then, I can't even fucking remember. It's totally, those plays weren't there. On 3rd and 8, there wasn't a guy open 12 yards down the field sitting in a fucking gap in the zone. And I said in the preseason, in last week's podcast, that our defense was the thing that made me nervous. I didn't think Kansas City should beat us, but our defense made me nervous. And it looked like a totally different team. We got pressure on the quarterback. Jarrell Casey's a fucking beast at nose tackle. And they move him around the line. And we got guys coming off the bench getting sacked. We're getting heat with 4 guys. Blitz packages were great. Sensabaugh got a sack didn't even get touched on a 3rd down. Like Tennessee used to blitz 60% of the time, so they knew they would pick it up. We're selective in our blitzing, play our base. I was worried about going to the 3-4. It fucking was fantastic yesterday.
Well, I know I should know this name, but where did Ray Horton come from?
Cleveland.
Okay, right. You did mention that in the last podcast. I was just having a brain blank.
Cleveland D coordinator, which everybody thought Cleveland had a pretty good defense. The fact being, Tennessee has way more talent on the defensive side of the ball than Cleveland had. Now they have a coordinator to make it work. We lost Alteron Werner to Tampa Bay, Pro Bowler. McCourty was a Pro Bowler last year, our other corner. We had Ree Wilson on the other corner and Sensabaugh in the slot and in the nickel.
Well, are you playing zone anymore?
Yeah, some.
But okay, because that's where Werner excels. But
it's a better zone. Like, we're not man-to-man all the time, but it's a better... The one pick for McCourty, man-to-man on Donnie Avery, who blew by us last year twice for long touchdowns or long receptions. And he was step for step with him. Both interceptions yesterday that McCourty got was against Donnie Avery.
Okay.
And he was stride for stride with him. So whatever we're doing, and however we've got that defense set up, it'll be interesting to see. Dallas has got a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball.
Is that your next opponent?
Yep, at home.
It's not going to be easy.
Ugh. Well, they have no defense, and if you control the clock against Dallas, you don't give those guys series to.
You know my opinion of Dallas. They're eminently beatable. But
if you beat Dallas if you don't turn the ball over. Their defense is atrocious. San Francisco didn't have to put up 40 points yesterday. That's all I would say. They didn't take any chances. Romo's the one that has to take chances, and he's. And I heard somebody today. I think it was actually a comedian that's a football fan. Said. And it's true. Romo thinks he has to score on every possession because he knows how bad the defense is. So he's going to take chances.
Yeah. The end zone pick was pretty inexcusable by Romo.
No,
but
I know. But it's not in a better situation, I think. Where's the good coach that he's had? The last good coach he had was Parcells. And he fumbled the snap in Seattle.
Yeah. All right, so unfortunately it wasn't a great gambling weekend for us. We did get the Niners, though I was gripping a little bit at the end of that.
Yeah, that Bronco game, like I mentioned it before, and I texted you this yesterday. Peyton Manning's ego, the only guy in the NFL that gets that much leeway. If that was Tony Romo that almost blew that game, they'd be crucifying him today. How does Peyton Manning get a pass for almost fucking that game up? When you have one timeout left as a defense in the last 3 minutes, or 3:20 at the end of that game, up 7 at your own 15, you run one play to Monty Ball and throw 2 incompletions and they had 2:48 left or something.
Yep.
You took a whopping 30 seconds off the clock, maybe 45 max. Any other quarterback, Romo and Jason Garrett are getting raked over the fucking coals today, and Manning just skates. He did fuck all in that second half. Absolutely fuck all, yet they keep throwing it. If they ran that ball, and I'm not talking, I mean the actual football, not Monty Ball. If they ran the ball, that game's over before the fourth quarter even starts. You take any chance of momentum. It's not like Indy has a great defense, people.
No, they really don't. No, I don't disagree with the thing you said there.
But Peyton Manning has to be the story of the game, and he gets complete control. Any other team at the goal line, And I know he had success. He threw the couple to Julius Thomas from in close. But if you're a running back in Denver, you have one touch to score a touchdown at the 1 or 2. If you don't get in, you're not getting it again. He's throwing. Did it yesterday when Ball scored that touchdown, and I have him in fantasy, and that's not why I'm saying it. He did it last year with Denver. In the playoffs, he did it. He got picked in the playoffs last year against San Diego, trying to be the fucking hero at the 1 instead of just running it in.
Well, and with a 24-point lead at the half, you run the ball on first 2 downs, and then if you have to, you throw it. It really is football 101, and I don't care how much the game has changed. If you're taking 80 seconds off and your opponent needs 4 scores, all you need is a half dozen first downs through that half to seal the victory.
Yeah.
And you're right. Brutal. I mean, everyone else will be destroyed for it except Peyton.
And why is there not a coach that will stand up to this cocksucker? He runs the team. Brady doesn't run the team. The last time I checked, he had 4 Super Bowls and actually played well in the playoffs when they had the teams that could win.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I don't disagree.
And
I want to touch on the other game we bet on, Chicago.
Oh.
The suicide pool killer. Holy crap.
That was awful. And
it wasn't even close. Chicago was at home. Like, what the hell? Cutler looked as brutal as I've seen him. And that's saying a lot. Like, he's got a pretty wide range of brutal to brilliant.
No, but his numbers are always the same, though. It's always 280 to 320, couple of touchdowns and a pick. But it's just, they never look like they're easy games for them. It doesn't matter who they're playing.
No, and I know their defense is bad, and that's not on Cutler. The defense was just as brutal as last year. For all the money they threw at it this year, it did not improve appreciably. Any team with a strong running game up the middle is going to tear them apart and wait for Cutler to try to force one, usually to Marshall, but not always, and then take the pick. So, yeah, we were wrong, but so was most of the effing world. And I still can't figure out how Buffalo did it. I still think Buffalo sucks. I'm not reading anything into this the other way.
Oh, and then they were saying, E.J. Manuel's speech the Saturday night before the game. Fuck off.
Yeah, sorry.
Just remind me of that speech when they're fucking 4-9 in week 13. Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, did he not talk to them on Saturday? I read the headline for that, and I didn't even go to it because I knew I would just be pissed off by whatever article that was.
The story before the game was how he wasn't a captain. And then he's like, I have to earn. They can't just give me the captaincy because I'm the quarterback. I have to prove myself, blah, blah, blah. And then he gives a second-year quarterback giving a speech. I might as well walk in there and say it. Fuck.
Yeah, speeches are vastly overrated in terms of winning football games.
Because, did you see Jeff Fisher before the start of the second half? When they're and the game wasn't out of reach yet with Minnesota. He's gathered the whole team around him, and he's barking at him on the field. Bark, 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 bark. And they proceed to go out and give up another 20 points and get fucking destroyed. And I didn't bring this up just to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Yes.
No, I didn't. I honestly didn't. That's not why I was bringing it up. But once I started in on it, I thought, it's good a place as any. But the validity of speeches and the effect they have are vastly overrated. And to touch on that a little bit, and now I don't want to get into the whole Ray Rice thing because it's been beaten to death.
I don't.
Pardon the
Yeah,
pun.
I barely.
Pardon the pun,
Luckily, you're slightly off. Beaten to unconsciousness,
but
would be more accurate.
I have to just reference about the speech thing and all that because Ray Lewis was always given credit for being the emotional leader and everybody looked up to him and he was this fucking brilliant guy for inspiring his teammates to win. And he talked like he was Ray Rice's father today on Countdown. If you didn't see it, it was a fucking joke. Oh, I'm a mentor to him. I tried to take the young man under my wing and I talked to the owner and the owner told me my situation when I was with the Ravens is nothing like Ray Rice's. And I'm like, okay.
Well, technically correct. You were convicted of obstruction of justice and he beat his wife. So
yes, I know.
On a purely factual level, they're nothing alike.
But it is because the outcry. What he's failing to remember or misremembering is the outcry there was about the lack of suspension he had when it happened. Now, I'm not saying much here, but if you think a guy that gets rid of his suit that is covered in blood, never to be seen again, had nothing to do with anything there that happened, you're out of your fucking mind. OJ didn't get rid of his bloody clothes because it was an accident. Okay?
And he pleaded guilty to obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
He's actually convicted of it in the eyes
I know.
of the law.
What he said is factually true. But the sentiment of it is fucking ridiculous to anybody with a brain.
Oh,
but to talk like he's the moral fucking judgment in the NFL?
Yeah, when Ray Lewis is the moral compass,
This is the reason I fucking hated him. He was a great football player, but he was a dick. He plays this image like he's this fucking religious. Oh, and it says in the good book. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Give me a break. You're involved in something where 2 guys died and you threw your bloody suit away. You were close enough to be covered in blood. And you're going to be the moral compass of the fucking Baltimore Ravens and Ray Rice? I'm flying home as soon as we're done here and I'm going to sit down and talk with them. We're talking about him as a man. Not as as a man. Oh, dude.
Nah.
The fucking Ray Rice didn't become a wife beater in the fucking elevator. This isn't a one-time thing.
That was a punch delivered by a guy who's
done it before.
Punch before.
Yep.
That was what I saw in that video. That was not a screaming drag down thing where it all goes to shit. She was yelling at him and he came with a left.
And he had no remorse.
No, and like here's the thing, like people are saying, well, why should he lose his job? And I really don't want to stay on this topic long.
No, I just had to bring that up.
But here's the thing, what he's being destroyed for now, and the Ravens are being destroyed for, and the NFL being destroyed for, is the cover-up, not the crime.
Yeah, and
it's the old fucking standard that the cover-up's worse than the crime. If he'd come out contrite, taken 6 games, gone into programs, thrown a bunch of his $25 million over the last 2 years at women's shelters, done all that, he would have weathered this storm.
No, he wouldn't have.
When you line up your wife to say, I'm sorry he punched me, that was the tipping point where it went to no one is accepting this. When you have the victim apologizing for being a victim, there is no way back.
Well, and the NFL had Goodell met with the 2 of them. And from what I was listening to today about domestic violence, you never include the victim in any investigation that.
This is why there are automatic charge laws. It's because the victim, in probably 98% of the cases, a woman, but the victim will never say that anything bad happened. This is why virtually every state, and I believe all of Canada, have automatic charge laws on this.
Well, if you go to Deadspin, there's an article tonight. And the title of the article was, "When are the Baltimore Ravens going to cut Terrell Suggs?" And it's a story about his domestic abuse case involving his fiance at the time from 2009. Their 2 kids are in the car. He's dragging her by the hair as he's driving in the car.
Well, and who was it? McDonald from the Niners.
Yeah.
Harbaugh, you can never touch a woman, unless you're a starter. And then we'll start talking about due process.
Yeah. When Alden Smith's out, we have due process now.
Yeah. Yeah, and if that was a third stringer, what's going to happen? I mean, this whole subject...
No, it's disgusting.
Yeah, we'll talk about it sometime, but we've talked about this a lot in the past, and I think our position is pretty well known.
Yeah, I just had to bring that up about Ray Lewis.
Pro-pot and against woman beating.
But I just had to bring up the Ray Lewis part because I've hated him and made it known I've hated him for a very long time.
Yep.
Not as a football player, as a man. What he's done as a fucking man. Because he was a great fucking football player. As a man, he's a hunk of shit.
Yeah, he's a hypocritical...
piece of shit.
Selective memory piece of shit. Fair enough.
So,
the only other thing I want to add to that, seeing as it came up, is Peter King came out pretty hard and implied that the NFL is lying. They've seen that video.
It's not just Peter King.
Well, it's his reputation too, right? Because he printed that they had to have seen that video. It was from a source who he says has never been wrong, and he published that, 45 days ago or whatever, and the NFL never protested. Now, how quick is the NFL on factual errors with most journalists? They don't let it go.
No.
They're not that kind of warm and fuzzy. Oh, well, it's only Peter King, who is a giant media celebrity. Yeah, he published it. We'll just let it slide without asking for a retraction or a clarification.
Well, I seem to remember an article back when it happened, or when they were in the phase of deciding what his punishment was going to be, that Ozzie Newsome, the GM of the Ravens, had seen it. That was the published report, that Newsome had seen it and was appalled by it. And when he got 2 games, I was just like, okay, but let's just say, let's for argument's sake say nobody saw it. Ray Rice's attorney had a copy of the tape. So in discovery, the prosecution should have seen it.
Well, the prosecution did see it, and they made that deal because, once again, athletes, celebrities, and wealthy people are held to a different standard.
Oh.
Now, if you notice, by the way, in the NFL's denial, and I haven't read the full text of it, but all they said was, we requested a copy from law enforcement, and it was not forthcoming. Ray Rice's attorney had it. You didn't think to ask him?
Well, they're not going to give it up.
Well, if you want leniency for your client, you'd better give it up. And if you don't give it up, why did you get the leniency? Goodell has proven once again that he's useless.
Yeah. Okay.
Protect the shield. Way to go. Way to create the biggest individual scandal probably since the Ray Lewis obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
Way to do that. Way to protect the shield there, Roger. Well done.
Now
worth every bit of your $44 million.
Now, here's what I was going to say. Now, let's say, just for argument's sake, that they're all telling the truth and nobody saw it except Lewis's defense attorney, or Rice's defense attorney. When you see a 215-pound man dragging a woman unconscious out of the elevator, when you have that footage, what do you think happened in the elevator?
Yeah, I would say prove that something terrible didn't happen.
Just go on the assumption
maybe she was on meds and passed out. I mean, there are possibilities, but I do think at that stage the onus switches to Ray Rice having to prove he didn't beat the fuck out of her.
Yeah, and there's no extenuating circumstances that, oh, she was hitting him or anything like that. When he's that big, she's not going to hurt you.
No.
She's not. They're not. Most women aren't going to hurt you.
I mean,
they may annoy you. They may annoy you, but there's a reason we don't participate in physical events against each other. There's a clear and distinct advantage between most men and most women.
Well, and weirdly enough, I'll even cite Jay-Z when Beyonce's sister attacked him. Did he punch her? No, he grabbed her around the arms to restrain her. You know, if someone's physically attacking you and you're much larger and much stronger, that's a better option.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know much because I don't follow celebs. I don't really know much about that, but I do know he didn't respond with a left hook.
No, just a brutal situation. Ray Rice will never play again in the NFL. Nobody's touching that. Michael Vick got off easier with the Dogs than he will with this. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have, but I'm just saying that Vick got a second chance. Ray Rice ain't getting a second chance. And
this is the only punishment available. It's the cover-up still.
But part of it stems from them only giving him 2 games is why he'll never have another job, because they can't go back on it now. They have to stick to it. If they would have given him a year at the time...
If they'd given him 8 games and all the money going to women's shelters and he was genuinely contrite, I think he gets away with it. He's utterly tarnished, but I think I don't know many people who think that one crime should destroy your life forever. I just don't think most people think that way.
But when you do not
recognize that it's a crime and use every trick at your disposal to avoid that crime, that is why he will never play again.
And what was I going to say now? It was something I said to my wife.
Just before you hit her?
Yeah.
She was talking back, man.
Yeah. What the hell did I say? Oh, I had it. I was just going to say it, and then I started thinking about something else. But it's... Oh, that's okay. I said, remember how the banks in the U.S., all the big banks, they said they're too big to fail? This is the assumption the NFL is working on right now with shit like this.
Yeah.
They're thinking, well, we can give them 2 games, and once the season starts, everybody will forget about it. And if anybody thinks this wasn't strategically released by TMZ or whoever had it, to damage the league, you're crazy. This was planned. When's it going to get the most impact? Oh, Monday morning. And guess what, NFL? The Ravens are playing Thursday night in Pittsburgh. So we're going to hear about it all fucking week. This ain't going away. Like Steve Young said tonight, this is just the beginning of the story. Now it becomes when did they know and who knew and why didn't anybody say anything or do anything different? Because it's egregious. This is just fucking brutal.
Well, and like just to briefly go back to the Peter King, who's as much a lapdog for the NFL as anyone, right? He's very much a booster of the NFL. That's his role. He's good at it. Some of his heartwarming stories are good. His analysis is terrible. Whatever. But he's the biggest lapdog. He's pissed because his reputation is now being thrown in. When he came up with that post, basically saying, I stand by what my source said, the NFL is lying. And, it was couched in verbiage that didn't come out and say it that directly.
Yeah.
But that's what that little 100-word post said. The NFL must have seen this. If they didn't see it, they're either wildly incompetent. Well, it goes to the Corolla rule. Stupid or lying.
Yeah.
Neither one looks good on you.
And if you're that big a business, you shouldn't be that stupid if you're running that big a business. Now, can I say one other thing about this? Did it not used to be that our reporting agencies got this information, not fucking celebrity gossip sites would get this tape?
Yeah, but
Where's the reporting? Where's
well,
the
I know
reporting
all
of
the media
this
are owned by a bunch of conglomerates
that don't want to
that are
damage the
in
product?
business with the
Yeah.
NFL.
That's my
So
point.
the
That's my
business
point.
end of the media is telling the
No, but we have no
news end
media.
of the media. Well, what little news of the media is their stories are utterly restricted based on corporate conflict of interest. And reporters, the few that exist who haven't switched to writing crime novels, have been saying this for 8 years.
There's more
That it's
integrity.
impossible for them to. I mean, that was the 5th season of The Wire. That's what it was about.
Yeah, this the news sources with more integrity are the Late Show, or what's the Nightly Show, or what's it called? Jon
Daily
Stewart?
Show with Jon
Daily
Stewart
Show.
and John Oliver's.
Yeah,
Last
Last
week
Week Tonight.
And Last Week Tonight, frankly, is even better because he gets angrier and more vicious. Also, he only has to put one show out a week, so it's a little tighter. But
Yeah, and they don't bleep the swear words like we get here in Canada.
yeah.
Beep. It's like, come on, we're grown-ups at midnight. If there's a kid watching, it's the parents' fault.
Yeah.
But, okay, we got one last topic to discuss.
You
We
bring
should
it in.
probably get to that. Okay. So we have a loyal follower of the podcast and of our website. We'll just call him Raider Doug. That's his Twitter handle, @RaiderDoug. And after listening to our podcast from last week, he was none too complimentary on my picks for the week. So you and I had said during the podcast we were going to post our picks. We're going to keep track of all our picks against the spread, not just the ones we bet, and see how we fare for the year. So when Raider Doug put that to me in a tweet, I went back and forth with him and said, well, okay, well, let's get your picks every week against the spread. We'll put them up against ours. And whoever has the worst record for the year is going to have to do some type of challenge / humiliation / whatever you want to call it. And it'll be posted on the website at the end of the year. Now, it will be different than Simmons and Cousin Sal because we'll actually go through with it.
Nice dig.
So, well, even though I'm big fans of those guys, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. They've been going to hit each other with a Subway sub for 10 years, and nobody's ever done it. So we're going to follow through with it. We don't know what it is yet. Raider Doug, you're listening tomorrow. Send us some suggestions that you have. You know what he said to me in a tweet? He said, as long as I don't have to wear any Chargers shit. Because he's a Raiders fan.
Well, I feel the same way about the Raiders, but it might not be so bad as a challenge. But if anyone has any better ideas, of course.
Yeah, hit us up on Twitter @OLines Marlon, @OLineBoyds, or @Offensive Lines. And give us some suggestions. I don't know what to do, what we could. I don't want to do anything too stupid, but it's got to be not humiliating like you lose your job humiliating, but just more in fun, just something goofy. I'm thinking along the lines of, like, I don't know. I don't even know what, because this just all happened over the last couple of days. And I would like to say to both you and Raider Doug, the two picks you killed me on the most, I was right. Miami and Minnesota.
We'll see.
No, I know. I'm just saying, from last week, the ones we argued about the most, and the one he called me out on, or the two, were those. And I got those right. So, just saying.
All right.
I will take
Taking the
the
smug ground.
No, I will take the shit kicking when I deserve it. If I'd have been wrong, I'd have fallen on the sword. But I'll stand by the shit Rams. that's my best call. Saying you replace a shitty quarterback with the same numbers as said shitty quarterback does not make them a better option to win. That was my biggest part of the argument last week, and that I will stand by every time. Because if we had to throw Charlie Whitehurst in Tennessee, I wouldn't be arguing that he's going to do as good a job as Jake Locker. But don't forget to listen to our pick show tomorrow.
All right.
That's where the fun happens.
Okay, we're running at 50 minutes, so we should wrap this up, my friend.
All right. So if you want to check out our podcast, you can find it on iTunes or Stitcher for your Android device. On our website, offensivelines.ca. You can follow us on Twitter at Offensive Lines. Or on our personal accounts at OLinesMarlon or at OLinesBoyd. Facebook.com/Offensive Lines. And if you want to send us an email with any suggestions for our year-end challenge, it's offensivelines@shaw.ca. I'm Boyd.
I'm Marlon, and that was the Offensive Lines Week 1 recap.
I got nothing.
I thought you'd try to hit the Rams again one more time.
Degenerate fucking gambler.